What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. So last week, there was a lot of talk around the Game Boy and Game Boy Advance emulators for the Switch that just kind of leaked out online. Well, now we're starting to see an update and this mystery Switch game appear online, and of course that's leading to a bunch of other questions. We're gonna go over that one here today. Also, we are gonna be talking about the NPD results for the month of March, showing a pretty good result there for the Xbox, and we're also gonna be talking a bit about those PlayStation Plus tiers that are upcoming, as it looks like more and more of the titles seem to be getting revealed a bit early. Guys, if you enjoy these videos, make sure you hit that like button, helps out a ton. And if you're new here to the Spawn Wave channel, make sure you subscribe down below and ring that notification bell so you can keep up to date with all the uploads here on the channel. And we're gonna start today with an update to the VRR situation, that being variable refresh rate for the PlayStation 5. We can see this over on PlayStation blog, where they say variable refresh rate support for PS5 is rolling out this week. In fact, they say in the coming weeks, the PlayStation 5 versions of these titles will receive game patches enabling VRR support. That includes titles like Astro's Playroom, we have Call of Duty Vanguard, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, Destiny 2, Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition, which should benefit pretty well from that, considering you might see screen tearing or just an overall choppy, inconsistent experience. VRR would help to clean that up pretty well there. But I also noticed Spider-Man Remastered and Miles Morales. Those are games that are already very, very smooth. However, Insomniac did comment on this, saying that if you have VRR support on a 120 hertz screen, it will actually uncap the frame rate, and you could be looking at up to 50% more in terms of performance. So I don't know what kind of magic they got going on over there at Insomniac, but pretty impressive stuff. It's just good to see VRR finally rolling out for the PlayStation 5. It feels like we've been talking about it for this platform for a while now, and it should work to make the experience even better for people checking out these games. Also, we did get the release date for Diablo Immortal. This is the game where they showed it off at BlizzCon, and it turned the whole thing where the meme was born of, is this an early April Fool's joke? And they were just roasted on stage there for that being basically the big closeout game. Well, it looks like they've decided that it's not just going to stay on mobile platforms, it is heading to PC as well. We can see this post up, this is over to Engadget, saying Diablo Immortal is coming to mobile, and surprise, PC on June 2nd. It's going to support full cross-play and cross-progression from what they're saying here, so it will be on PC, iOS, and Android starting June 2nd. It's the free-to-play title, has like the option in-game purchases, microtransactions, all of that. The PC version will be in open beta to start, and then they'll work out any bugs and stuff, I'm sure, through user experience up until they get to the point where they're ready to have it fully launch. Now, the reason for this was pretty funny, because in their posting on the website for Blizzard, they said, hey, you guys will probably end up just playing it through an emulator on PC anyway, so we figured we might as well get a PC version out there, even if it's just an open beta alongside of the phone version, so we can kind of test it with the community. So hey, if you were someone who was concerned that you'd have to work on emulating or something, or you were just hoping they would bring it to PC, looks like that is indeed happening this June. Oh, and speaking of June, it also looks like that's when we'll be seeing PlayStation Studios' next PC port releasing. We can see this posted up over on Push Square, saying Uncharted Legacy of Thieves Collection seemingly swinging onto PC in June. The reason they're saying seemingly is because on Epic Game Store, they did like this roundup of 2022 PC releases, and in like the paragraph going over Legacy of Thieves Collection, they said it's coming out June 20th. So, I mean, that seems pretty straightforward. That also matches up with an initial SteamDB page for the game with that date, but has since been removed. So it appears that they may have put this out a little early. I expect Sony to just kind of tweet about this at some point, maybe in the coming week, just to nail down that release date. But yeah, look forward to June, I guess, for Uncharted Legacy of Thieves Collection, about 4 months actually after the PlayStation 5 release. And once again, I wonder if this is going to be a trend going forward, where eventually we get to a point where it's just day and date releases on PlayStation and on PC. We'll see about that one. And guys, with some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. Let's start right away with the Game Boy Advance, Game Boy emulators, and this mystery listing for the Switch that's popped up online. First though, the Game Boy and Game Boy Advance emulators that leaked out were pretty old builds. People were talking about them from like 2018, 2019, and it almost looked like it may have been sort of a project from Nerd to kind of pitch to Nintendo, or even just show how the emulation would work on the Switch and what compatibility they were able to attain with it, as neither of them were anywhere near like the final build of it. MVG did go over this a bit more on his channel, and he's come to the conclusion that this seems legitimate, and that's sort of where we stand now. It's just somehow these early builds of these emulators that were being built for the Switch just got out there on 4chan, and here we are now with people looking through the different files through data mining. Well, some people also went back now that they have like the title ID for it and decided to check out some of the updates that get posted up online. And the way this works, we have like different bots that are set up on Twitter, and as an update is pushed out to Nintendo servers, they'll basically make an announcement on Twitter, hey, there is some sort of maintenance happening for the Sega Genesis Nintendo Switch Online app, and that's how we know, okay, Genesis games are basically happening right around that time. Well, take a look at this. This was on Twitter from Mondo Mega, saying, so this maintenance here a year ago was actually for Sloop, the leaked Game Boy Advance emulator, same title ID, proof that they naturally continue to work on it past the August 2020 build date of the leak, at least. Worth talking about, I think, Oatmeal Dome. And I also saw Luigi Blood talk about this a bit, matching it up and saying that, yeah, it looks like they were indeed still working on the Game Boy Advance emulator years after we had originally seen kind of some of the stamps on that Game Boy Advanced emulator that leaked out. So the fact that they have been updating that Game Boy Advanced emulator, probably along with the Game Boy emulator, we'll see if anything breaks on that, tells me, yeah, most likely we will see GBA head to the Nintendo Switch Online service at some point. I mean, it could happen by the end of this year. In fact, there are a lot of people basically saying, yes, at least Game Boy, but the fact that we're seeing Game Boy Advance also being updated as recent as last year, we could see a two-system release, one on the basic Nintendo Switch Online service at $20 to go alongside of Super Nintendo, the other one being Game Boy Advance in that Nintendo 64 expansion. But we also had this mystery listing, or at least scheduled maintenance for a game or application that's not out yet. Take a look at this once again over on Twitter from the Nintendo status bot, saying maintenance has been scheduled for title 0100396012844000. That's my favorite game for 2022, by the way. And I mean, we can see the maintenance scheduled screenshot here for it. That having, I guess, happened, actually just happening on Monday, 25th of April. And everyone, of course, is looking at this thinking, oh, is this the Game Boy Advanced emulator? Well, no, just looking at the title ID, it doesn't match up. And now people are going, well, is this just some sort of game that's upcoming here that just hasn't been announced? And yeah, most likely that's the case, because we've seen talks around other games that should, we think, get announced this year, probably around that E3 time period, but Nintendo's going to do their Direct whenever they feel like at this point. So obviously we hear about this controversial game that was being brought up the other day, and from what I've gathered, that's probably the sequel or casual game like 1-2 Switch that most people are going to see and just kind of walk right past it. But we, of course, have the potential of something like Metroid Prime Remastered, the remake, and I'm sure other games that Nintendo has ready to go for later on this year to fill in any gaps they may have between these major releases. So keep an eye on this one. I will be curious to see what it eventually is revealed as. I mean, it's anyone's guess at this point, so let me know what you think. Next up, let's talk about the NPD sales for the month of March. This, of course, covers the markets in the US, and it does appear that we have some serious issues when it comes to hardware and consoles just being available. I don't think that's a shock to anyone, but let's take a look here. This from Matt Piscatella, who shows us exactly how supply constraint these systems appear to be. Video game hardware dollar sales dropped 24% compared to a year ago. Goes on to say Xbox Series was the best-selling hardware platform of both March 2022 and the first quarter in dollars, while Switch led both time periods in unit sales. It's important to note that the NPD tracks by revenue, not necessarily just each individual system or unit that sells. So that's kind of why he's broken it up here, just to give us an idea of what made the most money technically in terms of revenue and what just sold the most units, because you have to remember, we have the Switch Lite on one end of the spectrum here at $200, and then at the other side, we have the Xbox Series X at $500, so it does become kind of hard to compare these overall. Matt goes on to say Xbox hardware unit and dollar sales in March 2022 set new all-time March highs for the platform. Previous Xbox bests were set in March 2011, that's for units, and March 2014 for dollar sales. And the biggest thing here is we've heard a lot of stories that Microsoft was paying for priority on chips just to get more Xboxes out there, and it appears that at least for now it's working. I am really curious when we eventually get to a point where the PS5 and the Xbox systems are just on store shelves. You walk into a Best Buy, a Walmart, or a Target, and you just pick one up and go. How sales will shake out then. But I mean, hey, it's a good month for Xbox. Can't really take that away from them. Also, the Switch selling like the most units. That just seems to be status quo at this point for the NPD. But let's take a look here at the overall top video game sales for the month. We can see, no surprise here, Elden Ring still at the top, number 1. Number 2, though, Gran Turismo 7. That's a pretty good debut there. And then number 3, Kirby and the Forgotten Land. It's important to note that Nintendo games do not have their digital sales tracked. These are just over-the-counter boxed sales. So, hey, for Kirby, number 3, very impressive stuff. I fully expect this Kirby game to go on to be the best selling in the entire Kirby franchise there in time. MLB The Show, 22 at 4. Horizon Forbidden West, that's number 5. Pokemon Legends Arceus, once again, does not track digital sales there at 6. WWE 2K22, I believe that one also does not track all of like the digital sales there, but still, number 7 for WWE is pretty good after what happened with 2K20. Mario Kart 8, because, you know, why not? Call of Duty Vanguard, Stranger of Paradise, Final Fantasy Origin there at 10, Tiny Tina's Wonderlands 11, Ghostwire Tokyo at 12, FIFA 22, Minecraft, Madden NFL 22. Then we have Triangle Strategy. That's number 16, no digital sales included. I wanted to go this far down the charts because it feels kind of disappointing with Triangle Strategy even falling out of the top 15 in sales for its debut month. Although, I mean, I guess it's a strategy RPG. It's not counting its digital sales. These are just physical sales, but like, it's still falling well behind even Ghostwire Tokyo, which I don't think sold that well at all. Yeah, it doesn't exactly paint the best picture here when it comes to these sales charts for Triangle Strategy. But I'm sure Square and Team Asano will talk more about that as we go along. Otherwise, though, very good month for the Xbox, good month for the Switch, generally as we kind of expect. And it just seems like Sony is having a really hard time when it comes to hardware sales because the software sales are there. Gran Turismo 7's up there with Elden Ring to top the sales charts. They're just not able to get PlayStation 5 systems to different stores. And here's hoping that the chip shortage is sorted out as we head through towards the end of this year into 2023, and then we can see how things shake out when it comes to sales overall. Next up, let's talk about the new PlayStation Plus service that's upcoming here in a couple of months, where we will see PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, and PSP games added into the service as what appears to be native experiences. Well, we'll see if all of them are like that or some of them, but we are starting to see these different games maybe get revealed a bit early through trademarks and through ratings boards. First, though, let's talk a bit about upgrading between the different tiers, as we have some new information around that. We can see this posted up by VGC, saying Sony claims users can easily upgrade between PlayStation Plus tiers. It appears like it's going to be the idea of paying a prorated difference, where they say you can easily upgrade to a higher benefit plan at any time. To do so, you'll need to pay the difference between the current plan and your new plan, adjusted for the remaining time of your subscription. This apparently was in an email to a user on Reset Era after they had shared that, and I mean, that's good in the sense that you don't necessarily need to upgrade or buy the premium tier immediately. You can kind of just hang out and see if they add anything that you really want, if nothing jumps off the screen to you with their initial offering of maybe retro titles. We also do have the release dates we can go over here very quickly, just in case you missed this. Asia markets, that excludes Japan. That's targeting May 23rd. Japan, we'll see June 1st. The Americas, June 13th. And then Europe is targeting June 22nd. Now, as for some of these titles that appear to be getting revealed a bit early, I did talk some about this on the second channel, but let's recap here. We can see this from Gamatsu. Siphon Filter 1, 2, Dark Mirror, and Logan Shadow, rated for PS5 and PS4 in Korea. The fact that these are getting ratings, it makes me hopeful that these would be native experiences on the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 5, as in you would just download them, because right now on PlayStation Now, you do have that experience, at least for PS2 titles. So I'm thinking these are just games you'll download, you'll play them like normal, and it'll just be part of that premium tier. Good to see a lot of Siphon Filter representation here, though, on the PlayStation Plus service. Makes me wonder if maybe Sony has plans for something new in the series there, after they had asked Jeff Ross at Ben Studio if they would like to build some sort of Siphon Filter game. But, I mean, we'll see about that and how these come out when they eventually release with the emulator that they'll have holding it up. As for another title, we can see Gamatsu noticed that Square Enix trademarked Fear Effect on April 20th in the US and Relic Strike on April 21st, that in Australia. No idea what Relic Strike is, it's anyone's guess on that, but Fear Effect, we know that there is a remake, I think is still in development. I feel like that's coming from Forever Entertainment, as Gamatsu has noted here, but I haven't really heard much else about that in a couple of years. But I wouldn't be shocked if Fear Effect is also being trademarked for use in this PlayStation Plus premium tier. And most likely, as we get closer to the release of this service towards the end of May, we're probably going to see more trademarks, and we'll be seeing more ratings get out there early, so I expect them to give us a list of these titles, hopefully about a month in advance, so people can start to decide if they want to buy into that premium tier immediately. Otherwise, though, it's good to know that over time they'll be adding games and you can just upgrade with like kind of a pro-rated setup where you pay the difference. But I'm really hopeful that they show up with a great selection of games, and seeing a bunch of Siphon Filter makes me hopeful for that entire list. And in our last bit of news, let's talk about a sale from Capcom for the Nintendo Switch and the 3DS. This is their Golden Week sale. We can see over on their sales and deals page for Nintendo, Capcom Golden Week sale. It's already started and it'll be running until May 15th. We can see at the top here, Monster Hunter Generations, $11.99. Onimusha, hey, $8, pretty good pickup there. A bunch of Resident Evil games. That seems to be what Capcom likes to go to, are just all these different Resident Evil games, and they'll mark them down 60%, 70%. I mean, they'll get pretty good with some of these discounts here, and that's pretty much all of them. 4, 5, 6, Revelations 2, 0, Resident Evil. They also have the Devil May Cry games up for sale, with Devil May Cry at 10, Devil May Cry 2 at 10, and then Devil May Cry 3 Special Edition at $12. I do like to point out the different collections, like Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Collection at $12. That's pretty good. You also have the Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trilogy at $15, and I'll always point out Dragon's Dogma and also Akami whenever they're on sale. Each of these are half off. Oh, and if you're someone who was curious about Monster Hunter Rise after seeing the upcoming expansion, that game is half off down to $30, which is an absolute steal for the amount of time that you would potentially be putting into that game. Moving over to the 3DS, I want to preface this by saying we're not 100% sure on how Nintendo is going to handle the 3DS store situation after they close things down when it comes to re-downloads, as we're still questioning the whole Wii situation. But nonetheless, I like to bring these discounts to you because they're pretty good overall, and 3DS games are getting out of control on eBay. But we can see Apollo Justice Ace Attorney at $5, Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trilogy at $12. We also have the Dual Destinies, that at $5. Mega Man Legacy Collection at $5. Monster Hunter Generations, $5. 3 Ultimate, $5 as well, and 4 Ultimate. Resident Evil Revelations is $2 on the 3DS. That's pretty good. Super Street Fighter 4 3D Edition at $5, and Resident Evil The Mercenaries 3D at $2. But overall, pretty good sale there from Capcom for Golden Week, and this will be running, like I said, for about the next 3 weeks, so make sure you check them out. And before we go to the comment of the day, we're gonna take a look at the poll that I posted up yesterday, where I asked which of these Nintendo upcoming first-party games for 2022 are you looking forward to the most? Mario Strikers there with 31% at the top. Then we have Xenoblade Chronicles 3 at 27%, then Bayonetta 3, then Splatoon 3, and then Fire Emblem 3 Hopes. Yeah, I think I'd agree with the poll here. For me personally, I'm really excited for Mario Strikers. It's been a long time since we've had a Mario Strikers game. That was on the Wii, but even then I kind of go beyond that and go back to the GameCube, because that to me is my favorite one. So I'm very curious to see how they handle this new one, along with the online that looks like has a lot of potential. But either way, a lot of good titles from Nintendo coming up here in 2022. And we'll finish up with the comment of the day, as you're seeing here. This is from WMV saying, I think the main issue for 343 is the engine. From the sound of it, it takes a while to learn and has its issues. Also, it seemed a bulk of development before release had a lot of contractors, so they lost a sizable chunk of their development team. Also, I hear management has issues. Many people that were in higher positions have left from 2019 to post-release. Yeah, it really sounds like behind the scenes, it was a management nightmare for Halo Infinite. I mean, there were talks that they were working on like an Overwatch style Halo game. That was something they prototyped, at least according to Jason Schreier, and he mentioned this like a year ago. It just happened to come up again after, of course, that roadmap was shared. But that's where I am with this entire thing for Halo Infinite. 343 has struggled with seemingly every single Halo game that's come out that they've released. Halo 4, Halo 5, Master Chief Collection Infinite. I don't think any of those had a smooth release at all. So at some point, you have to sit back and wonder, okay, is this a management issue, and does that come down to 343? Because to me, the game itself, from what the developers put out, hey, you guys got to make this feel like a Halo game. They said, all right, they did that. But then it comes down to setting up the roadmap and managing how all of this comes together. And that's kind of where I am with 343. Maybe it is time to start looking around at some of the developers and studios that Microsoft has been acquiring and just see if anyone else wants to take a shot at it. And ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit that like button. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about here today. Where's that mystery Nintendo Switch game? What do you think it is? And then do you also think that Game Boy Advance could be heading to that Nintendo Switch online service by the end of this year? And then what about PlayStation Plus and those tiers coming up? What game from the PS1, PS2, or PSP era would make you sign up for it immediately? Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.